CR 21-04445, State of Texas versus Bobby Lee Jones. You're Mr. Jones, I see you, but you're muted out. You're mute. You're muted. Can you hear me?
How about now?
I can barely hear you now, Mr. Jones. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Your Honor?
I am well, thank you. Ms. Alfaro, I have this case with Mr. Jones set on a status. Is there a status to report to this court?
And I believe the previous attorney, Mr. James Sahadi, withdrew from this case.
Okay.
And I believe the defendant has set this up for a status.
Mr. Jones, you had an attorney at one time, Mr. Sahadi?
Yes, Your Honor. I had a really good attorney before him, and the court date was set, I believe, for January or February. I think February 12th or something like that. But Zahadi came in here and he messed everything up, and then the court date got pushed back to June 30th, and I got upset at him, and I asked a request to you that he be removed as my attorney and replaced, or I represent myself, Your Honor. That was granted by his withdrawal. And I got the notification, and I'm here now, and I'm asking that there be a show of evidence because I never dialed 911 on that day, and I have my phone records ready for you right here.
Okay.
If I may.
I also have a
Mr. Jones. Yeah, Mr. Jones. Those are, technical issues that an attorney will bring to court. The state says you did it, you say you didn't. This is where an attorney gets involved, and your attorney will sit down with the state, and the state probably by now has a printout of all the calls that came out of your phone on a certain date at a certain time. So your attorney may tell the state, look, he doesn't live by himself in that home. There's other people living there, et cetera, et cetera. But those are defense issues that are best left to your attorney. Now, who did you have before Mr. Sahadi?
It was a public defender's office, Judge.
It was the public defender's office?
Yes, Judge. And for the record, Judge, I didn't mess anything up. The only reason I withdrew was because Mr. Jones was verbally abusive toward me on more than one occasion, some of which I have on text.
Okay.
I have as well, and it was not more than one occasion. It was one day.
It was more than once, Judge.
All right.
I mean,
Mr.
that.
Mr. Sahadi, Mr. Jones, we're not going to get into this here. Okay. Mr. Jones, can you afford an attorney?
No, I cannot, Your Honor, and I don't think I need one since the state has absolutely zero evidence that I dialed 911, and I have a legitimate reason to call. I have the case number, and that crime did occur.
All right.
2 days
Mr.
after
Jones,
I got out of jail.
Yeah, Mr. Jones, the state doesn't just, file charges without any evidence. If they file charges against you, they've got something, okay? So
There is no evidence, Your Honor. I asked for
what I'd like to do, Mr. Jones, what I'd like to do is again ask you, can you afford an attorney?
No, I cannot, Your Honor.
All right. Would you like for this court to appoint an attorney to represent you?
That would be welcome, Your Honor. And if you could get my original attorney on the case, she's very good, very smart. I really like her. She knows exactly what she's talking about.
Well, Mr. Sahadi, who was the attorney that Mr. Jones is referring to?
Let me check that really quick, Judge.
And is that attorney still with the public defender's office?
She is not, Judge.
She is no longer with the public defender's office?
No, sir. Let me make sure on that though, because I know there were a couple of It's Vanessa Mendoza, Judge. She still is with us.
Would you like Ms. Mendoza to get back on your case, Mr. Jones?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Well, and now here's the deal. Ms. Mendoza has been assigned to another court. I don't know if I can direct the public defender's office to appoint her to represent you since you're in my court.
Judge, I spoke with Mr. Esparza, who's my boss here at the public defender's office. I explained the situation, and quite frankly, I don't think that the public defender's office, with all due respect, Judge, should be reappointed to Mr. Jones.
Okay.
And I would disagree because I have full faith in her as an attorney, or any attorney that's competent enough to not screw up a case.
Okay. Mr. Ortegon.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Are you taking court-appointed cases this morning?
This morning, Judge, I'd be more than happy to assist this honorable court, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Jones, I have Mr. Jorge Ortegon. Have you got a pencil or a pen handy? All right, Mr. Ortegon, can you call out your phone number for Mr. Jones to have?
Absolutely, Judge. It is area code 956-655-5726.
Did you get that, Mr. Jones?
Yes, and Your Honor, technically the charges are silent abuse of 911. There were 3 calls when I had to call back because I had to ask a question.
Yeah.
I had to ask, in which
Mr. Jones.
They never answered the phone, Your Honor.
Okay.
So I would like proof that they answered the phone, because if they never said hello, they never answered the phone, they never said anything, then they cannot possibly be charged of silent abuse.
Mr. Jones, I don't have that particular statute in front of me. I can't tell you exactly what constitutes a silent or abusive call to that 911. Mr. Ortegon will look into that after he discusses the situation with you.
Very good, John.
Yeah, Mr. Jones, I would like for you to call out your phone number so that Mr. Ortegon can have it.
It's area code 972-748-9989.
You want to repeat that, Mr. Ortegon, so that we can make sure you got it right?
I have Bob Jones, Your Honor. I have area code 972-748-9989.
Is that correct, Mr. Jones?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Now, Mr. Ortegon, Mr. Jones's case number is CR 21-04445. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reschedule this for a pretrial on June 15th at 10 o'clock. And that'll give you an opportunity to visit with Mr. Jones and discuss the situation. That'll give you an opportunity to come and read the file at the district attorney's office and advise Mr. Jones what they have or what they don't have, or what they heard or what they didn't hear, et cetera, et cetera. Mr. Jones, absolutely. Make sure you get in contact with Mr. Ortegon ASAP. And we will see you back here June 15th at 10 o'clock.
You got it. Thank you very much.
What I'll do, Your Honor, is I do have several courts today. Mr. Jones, I will be contacting you a little bit later this afternoon, probably around 2 or 3 p.m. when I'm done with court, and we can go over your side of the story, and I'll get a 3914 file, Judge. If this honorable court can order the public defender's office to email me the discovery they have, or if Ms. Alfaro will advise her staff to just go ahead and send me the discovery, Your Honor, we'll get that 3914 taken care of, Your Honor. But we do want to, I'm assuming everybody wants to try to get this taken care of as quickly as possible.
I'm sure the public defender's office will be more than willing to cooperate. And Ms. Alfaro is also very reasonable. Mr. Jones, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, is that a good time for you?
Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. That's perfect.
All right. Stay safe. We'll see you back here June 15th at 10 a.m. Take care,
You too.
Mr.
God
Jones.
bless you.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I have back Mr.